Lorwyn Eclipse and the pre-modern format have set the secondary market on fire. Join us for part 2 of this giant-sized 2-part edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can order Lorwyn Eclipse products, pre-order Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles products, or find a vast number of other great items on their website. Remember, shipping is free in the US if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles. Just look in the description or comment section below for direct links to their site. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. As I said in the cold open, Lorwyn Eclipse is here, and the new set, along with a boom of interest in the pre-modern format, have caused spikes all over the secondary market. So much so that we had to split this week's Market Watch into 2 parts. Yesterday, we looked at the top 2 cold cards and the hot cards numbered 43 through 21. Today, we finish up by examining the top 20 hottest cards of the week. Now, you won't see any Lorwyn Eclipse cards in the countdown today since the set just came out and we need time to establish a baseline for prices, but next week they'll begin appearing in the Market Watch when applicable. As always, our lists are based on 2 pieces of criteria: the percentage change in the value of the cards, as well as the change in the number of sales from week to week. Quickly before we get started though, just one fast thing. I do want to say thank you to one of our gold patrons, and that is Drave. Drave, thank you so much for your support on Patreon. I really could not do this without viewers like yourself. Truly appreciate all your long-term support. So thank you again, Drave. And now, without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, we've seen the cold cards and the first 23 hot cards in part 1. Now it's time for the main event, the top 20 hottest cards of the week. Let's begin with number 20. Dionys Elvish Archdruid, up 696 to 1985. That's a 40% increase. This is a popular commander, and it's in the 99 of a few builds, like the ones around Lathril Blade of the Elves, for example. It's moving up now because Elf decks are getting better thanks to the Elf support and changeling cards included in Lorwyn Eclipse. I'm seeing Dionys appear in commander builds around a couple cards from the main set. They are High Perfect Morcant and Marlin Fey Ascendant. Moving up 10 spots this week to number 19, Cavalier of Dawn from Core Set 2020. This is up 759 to 1404. That's a 118% increase. This has been seeing commander play around cards like Sidar Jabari of Zhalfir and Anti-Venom Horrifying Healer, for example. Now it is Lorwyn Eclipse that's causing Cavalier of Dawn's price spike. Just like Elves, Lorwyn Eclipse is bringing support for elementals along with some new changeling creatures, so there is renewed interest in the Cavalier cycle. Many players are grabbing a copy to upgrade the Dance of the Elements commander deck, while others are adding Cavalier of Dawn to fresh builds around the front-facing commander from there, Ashling, the Limitless. Number 18 is Blightwing Bandit, up $8.03 to $11.72. That's a 218% increase. This is from the Wilds of Eldraine Fey Dominion commander deck, and stop me if this sounds familiar. A card moves up in price because it has a creature type that is getting some love from Lorwyn Eclipse. This time it's fairies, and all the new fairy support and good changeling creatures in the set are pushing the price of Blightwing Bandit. You see it in fairy-centric commander builds around a few cards, including 2 from its pre-con, Alila Cunning Conqueror and Tegwell Duke of Splendor. Those decks are getting a nice push from Lorwyn Eclipse. Now Blightwing Bandit is also appearing in commander decks around Marlin Fey Ascendant from the Lorwyn Eclipse main set. Coming in at number 17, Contagion Engine. The Outlaws of Thunder Junction breaking news copy is up 448 to 1094. That is a 69% increase. The Scars of Mirrodin copy goes up 482 to 1280. That's a 60% increase. And the one from the list is up 811 to 1674. That's a 94% increase. This still sees a good amount of commander play. It appears in builds around Atraxa Praetor's Voice and the Wise Mothman, for example. But now, Contagion Engine is seeing even more play thanks to the -1/-1 counter support coming from Lorwyn Eclipse products. Many builds that run it are just getting better, and lots of players want a copy to upgrade the Lorwyn Eclipse Blight Curse commander deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around a couple cards from there. If you watch part 1, you're familiar with the front-facing commander, Anti-Ul Curse Wretch, and the Reaper King No More. Plus, to a lesser degree, Contagion Engine is appearing in commander decks around High Perfect Morcant from the main set. Number 16 had to be here, right? Tegwell, Duke of Splendor. This is up 836 to 1152, that's a 265% increase, and we're looking at the foil copy from the Wilds of Eldraine Fey Dominion deck. It's still an extremely popular commander for fairy builds, and it's in the 99 of some, like the ones around Alila Cunning Conquer from its precon, for example. As I said a moment ago, the new fairy support cards and changeling creatures from Lorwyn Eclipsed are causing this to spike now. Tegwell is also appearing in commander builds around Marlin Fey Ascendant from the Lorwyn Eclipsed main set. Moving up 12 spots this week to number 15, Atomize. It goes up 845 to 1633, that's a 107% increase. This is from the Fallout Mutant Menace commander deck. It currently sees play in several commander builds, like the ones around the Wise Mothman from its precon, and attracts a Praetor's Voice, for example, but you know why this is moving up now. Proliferate works really well with the abundance of cards that make -1/-1 counters that are coming out of Lorwyn Eclipsed products. I'm seeing Atomize in commander decks around High Perfect Morcant from the main set, plus many want Atomize to upgrade the Blight Curse commander deck, while others are putting it in their fresh builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. Atomize is a good answer to Malira Sylvok Outcast if your opponent were to play that creature against your -1/-1 counter build. Plus, we learned last week through the accidental release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards in Lorwyn Eclipse pre-release kits that the Turtles set will have a lot of support for +1/+1 counters, and that knowledge has put even more attention on Atomize. Moving up 14 spots this week to number 14, Corrosive Mentor, up 895 to 1587, that's a 129% increase. This is a Shadowmoor uncommon that is yet to be reprinted, and I haven't used my 1 per video for part 2 yet. You may know that during this time period in Magic there was a recession in the game, and less packs of Shadowmoor as well as some other sets were cracked. Due to the lower supply, some of these cards that haven't been reprinted tend to spike when there's some attention on them. So why are people paying attention to this now? Well, it has been found in commander builds around the Scorpion God, and those are getting a boost thanks to all the support for -1/-1 counter strategies in Lorwyn Eclipse products. Like the previous card, I'm also seeing some players grabbing Corrosive Mentor to upgrade the Lorwyn Eclipse Blight Curse commander deck, while others are putting it in builds around a couple of cards from there. Yeah, say it with me now, Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More. A week ago, this was number 11. Last week it was number 6. This week it falls 7 spots to number 13 on our hot list. Maha, Its Feathers Knight, up 924 to 49.99, that's a 23% increase. This has been a fairly popular commander, and it's in the 99 of builds around cards like Toxtril the Corrosive and Gisa and Geralf, for example. Now though, Lorwyn Eclipsed is making Maha spike in a big way. As we've been discussing, the set has brought support for elemental creatures, and it has lots of cards that give -1/-1 counters. Giving your opponent's creatures base toughness of 1 makes them very vulnerable to said counters. I have been seeing a lot of players getting this to upgrade the Blight Curse commander deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. But to a lesser degree, there are some looking to add Maha, Its Feathers Knight to the Dance of the Elements deck, and others want it for their new builds around Ashling the Limitless, as well as Massive Mysteries from there. Plus, some have been putting Maha, Its Feathers Knight in commander decks around High Perfect Morcant from the main set. Moving up 9 spots this week to number 12, Generous Patron. The Final Fantasy Commander copy from the Counterblitz deck is up $5 and a cent to $10 for a 100% increase. The Battlebond copy is up $12.36 to $17.75, that's a 229% increase. Generous Patron is found in a few commander decks, like the ones around Tidus Yuna's Guardian from its precon, or Miss Bumbleflower, for example, but clearly this is moving up now because of all the cards that allow you to put -1/-1 counters on opponents' creatures found in Lorwyn Eclipsed products. Since this is an elf, I'm seeing many players putting this in commander decks around High Perfect Morcant from the main set, plus many want Generous Patron to upgrade the Blight Curse commander deck, while others are adding it to fresh builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and, yep, the Reaper King No More from there. Generous Patron is also getting some additional attention this week now that we know that +1/+1 counters will be a major theme in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. Number 11, All will be one, up 1312 to 3311, that's a 66% increase. This has been seeing commander play in several builds, like the ones around Sauron the Dark Lord, as well as the partner decks around Atreus Impulsive Son and Kratos Stoic Father, for example. Recently, All Will Be One began seeing some additional play in the format within decks around Toph the First Metalbender from the Avatar The Last Airbender set. Now, as you could have guessed, the -1/-1 strategies from Lorwyn Eclipsed are pushing the price of All Will Be One as well. Again, stop me if you heard this one, but lots of players wanted to upgrade the Blight Curse Commander deck, while others want it in their new builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. All Will Be One is also another card that has some extra spec on it because of the +1/+1 counter-centric cards revealed last week from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. Alright, quickly before we get to our top 10, just a fast reminder, this video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can pick up Lorwyn Eclipse products there, you can pre-order Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles products, or find any number of other great items on their website, Magic related and otherwise. Remember, if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the US, and if you're looking for a direct link to their site, just check out the description or the comment section below. I do have links posted in both of those places. And now, without any further ado, let's get to the top 10. A week ago, this was number 2 on the hot list. Last week it went down to number 11. This week it moves back up one spot to number 10. Crumbling Ashes up 1364 to 6350. That's a 27% increase. Well, this is an Eventide uncommon that is yet to be reprinted, but I already used my one per video, so I'll spare you all the details. Some thought this would be reprinted in Lorwyn Eclipse, but it wasn't, and it has continued to spike aggressively. We've been seeing it in commander decks around the Scorpion God, and those builds and this card have gotten better thanks to the -1/-1 counter support in Lorwyn Eclipse. Crumbling Ashes is solid in commander builds around High Perfect Moorcamp from the main set, and I'm seeing a lot of players grabbing it to upgrade the Blight Curse Commander deck. Crumbling Ashes is also appearing in new builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. Moving up 3 spots this week to number 9, Alila Cunning Conqueror of 1571 to 3399. That's an 86% increase. This is the foil copy from the Wilds of Eldraine Fey Dominion commander deck. It's a fairly popular commander, and Alila is in the 99 of other builds too, like the ones around Alila Artful Provocateur, for example. However, you guessed it, Lorwyn Eclipsed is causing the spike you see here. As we discussed earlier, the set has brought us support for fairies as well as several creatures with Changeling, which means commander builds with Alila are getting a push. I'm also seeing Alila Cunning Conqueror in commander decks around Marlin Fey Ascendant from the Lorwyn Eclipsed main set. Coming in at number 8 is Opalescence, up 1884 to 4884. That's a 63% increase. This reserve list card is moving due to the play it sees in the pre-modern format. Pre-modern has been pushing card prices more and more recently, and a week ago the professor made a video about the format on Tolarian Community College, which brought even more attention to it. On top of that, this week we had a shakeup in the meta due to the banning of Parallax Tide, so many players have been adjusting their decks or trying to build new ones. Put it all together and the result is a ton of activity around key pre-modern cards. Opalescence was an Azorius Replenish, so we'll have to see how that build does without Parallax Tide. We'll talk more about that in a few moments. However, there is another popular build that runs Opalescence, which may actually get more play now that Parallax Tide is out of the way. That build is Selesnya Enchantress. Keep an eye on those decks and this card in particular in the coming weeks. Number 7, Decree of Silence, from 1932 to 2750. That's a 236% increase. As I mentioned a moment ago, Parallax Tide was banned in the pre-modern format this week. This is spiking because it's the card the pre-modern Azorius Replenish decks are using to replace Parallax Tide. Will it be as good? Probably not, but it may still be more than enough to keep the build competitive in the format. Moving down 2 spots this week to number 6, Animar Soul of Elements. The Mystery Booster copy goes up $8 in a set to $49. That's a 20% increase. The Commander copy from the Mirror Mastery deck is up $12.29 to $54.45. That's a 29% increase. The Masters 25 copy is up $15 to $55. That is a 38% increase. And the Double Masters 2022 copy is up $22.34 to $69.95. That's a 47% increase. This has been a very popular commander, and it's becoming more popular thanks to the elemental support and changelings coming from Lorwyn Eclipsed. It's also found in the 99 of several elemental-centric decks, like the ones around Eshki Teemer's Roar and Omnith Locus of the Royal, for example. Additionally, many players want Animar Soul of Elements to upgrade the Dance of the Elements commander deck, while others are adding it to fresh builds around Ashling the Limitless, as well as Massive Mysteries from there. Number 5 is Sabo's Web from Invasion, up $23.76 to $40. That's a 146% increase. This is moving up because it's another big card in the pre-modern format that can be found in some main decks and many sideboards to deal with problematic lands. The format has its share of control builds that finish players off with lands like Mishra's Factory and Fairy Conclave. Sabo's Web is a good answer to those cards. Some decks that run it include Selesnya Enchantress, Azorius Replenish, which I think will still stick around even without Parallax Tide, Dimir Psychotog, Devourer Combo, Welder Tinker, Growatog, and Azorius Stiflenaut. Number 4, Yawgmoth Thran Physician, the Modern Horizons copy up $14.01 to $38. That's a 58% increase. The Dominaria Remastered copy up $21.64 to $43.97. That is a 97% increase. And the Time Spiral Remastered Time Shifted copy is up $24.25 to $47. That's a 107% increase. This is seeing play in multiple formats. Of course, it's in Modern Yawgmoth, which is still a fairly popular build in the format. Over in 1v1 Dual Commander, this is found in May Scornful Striker and Grist the Hungertide decks. However, regular Commander is the format pushing Yawgmoth's price this week. It's a highly played commander and found in the 99 of lots of decks like the ones around Marin Clan of Neltoth and Sephiroth Fabled Soldier, for example. It's pretty clear why Yawgmoth Thran Physician is spiking right now, though. Lorwyn Eclipsed has made this popular card even more sought after with the set's focus on -1/-1 counters. Lots of players have been getting this to upgrade the Blight Curse commander deck, while others have been putting in fresh builds around, you guessed it, Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. Like we discussed earlier, Yawgmoth Thran Physician's Proliferate option may work well with some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards too, but Lorwyn Eclipsed is the key driver for the spike. Number 3 is Mikaeus the Unhallowed. The list copy goes up $7.80 to $23.57. That's a 49% increase. The Commander Masters copy is up $10.21 to $24.99. That's a 69% increase. The one from Dark Ascensions up $15.02 to $29.99. That's a 100% increase. And the Ultimate Masters copy is up $25.67 to $43.14. That's a 147% increase. This has been a highly played commander card in the 99 of several decks, like the ones around Marin of Clan Neltoth and Will Help the Rock Cleaver, for example. Now though, Lorwyn Eclipsed is pushing Mikaeus' price. Lorwyn is centered around several non-human creature types, and remember, -1/-1 counters cancel out +1/+1 counters. You can use Undying to get creatures back with +1/+1 counters and then give them -1/-1 counters to allow Undying to trigger again when they go back to the graveyard. I'm seeing a lot of players putting this in commander decks around Irdu Carrier of Dawn / Isalu Carrier of Twilight from the Lorwyn Eclipsed main set. Plus, as you may have guessed, Mikaeus the Unhallowed is a great upgrade to the Blight Curse deck, and it's also solid in fresh builds around Anti-Ul Curse Wretch and the Reaper King No More from there. Number 2, Wolverine Riders. The Keltime Commander copy from the Elven Empire deck is up $26.28 to $36.22. That's a 264% increase. And the Jumpstart 2022 copy is up $37.30 to $49.35. That's a 310% increase. This is a great card for Commander Elf-centric builds like the ones around Lathril Blade of the Elves from its precon and Reese the Redeemed, for example. By now, though, you know what's going on here. Yep, this is another card being pushed by Lorwyn Eclipsed. The set has brought a lot of support for elves and some changeling creatures, so elf-centric builds have gotten a nice boost. Plus, I'm seeing Wolverine Riders and new commander builds run a couple cards from the Lorwyn Eclipsed main set. They are High Perfect Morcant and Marlin Fey Ascendant. And finally, coming in at number 1, Saproling Burst, up $37.37 to $39.37. That's a 1,869% increase if you're doing the math at home. What can I say? Pre-modern strikes again. This is found in the Pandemonium Burst deck there, and lots of players think that that could be the new top deck now that Parallax Tide has been banned in the format. We'll have to see how things play out, but since Saproling Burst only has one tournament legal printing, it absolutely blew up this week. Alright, that's going to do it for part 2 of this giant-sized 2-part edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. We're going to be back next week, and make sure you tune in because the market is extremely volatile, as you can see. Until next time, though, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.